Hi, my name is George Cantonis. I'm with Desert Brand Products. I'm here today to discuss with you our Master Seal 100 solvent-based sealer for Arto brick tile, and as well as our penetrating sealer for Arto brick tile. I'm going to discuss with you the differences between using our penetrating sealer versus our Master Seal. They're both good at what they do, but there are very big differences in the use of these products. The Master Seal 100 is a topical sealer. It's actually a hybrid product. It's actually a penetrating sealer and topical sealer in one. This sealer actually breaks the rules on sealers. This is a non-breathable solvent-based product. For years they tell you you don't use these non-breathable sealers outside. This product breaks that rule. You can use it outside, and actually it does very well around water. Freeze thaw, it's going to do well with that as well. The difference here is it'll give you topical protection, chemical resistancy. When you get into the penetrating sealer is basically going to protect from the inside. So it's going to give you inner protection. What does that mean? It means it's going to minimize staining. It's going to prevent efflorescence. Both products will prevent from efflorescence, but this product is used more for where somebody wants to maybe age their tile, kind of patina, let it patina and let it age with the surroundings. There's no right or wrong for each one you use, but everybody has a difference of what look they're trying to achieve. One of the questions we get asked is, how long will the Master Seal last? How long will it last before I have to reapply? Tough question to answer, because you've got there's the environment of the area, there's how much foot traffic, the weather, all regarding with the environment. So the best thing I could tell you is this sealer should go a minimum of 3 years. I've seen it go as long as 10 years. Will our sealer change the color of the concrete tile? The answer is yes. This is a solvent-borne product. Generally speaking, solvent-based products, whether you're talking about a lacquer or a product like our Master Seal, will change the color. I can show you, I've got a couple samples here of some sealed Arto brick tile. This one is sealed with the Master Seal 100, and this one is not sealed yet. So you can see it's a lot lighter in color. When choosing the color that you want for your house, it's always good you can do a simple test to look at the tile, so you don't know really what it's going to look like until it's sealed. A very simple test so you can get the actual color is to put water on it. And that is going to it should give you the same color of what you have here with the seal. So the water test is very important in picking out the color of the tile, the finished product. With regard to the penetrating sealer, generally speaking, they don't change the color of the surface. There are certain situations where you might get a slight color change, but generally speaking, penetrating sealers do not change the color of the surface. With regard to the question about warranty, our products carry a 1-year materials warranty. Areas of the country that experience freeze thaw, all our Desert Brand sealers can be used in those areas. As far as availability for Desert Brand products go, we have distributors and dealers throughout the West, and Arto Brick can supply our sealers throughout the country. Desert Brand penetrating sealer will help preserve surfaces from spalling, cracking, efflorescence, and staining. It is very important to remember when recoating the Master Seal on tile that has been sealed for years, that you reseal with the Master Seal. The reason for that is the next maintenance coat that you put over the top of what's already there is going to melt into what's there, and you will continue to have just one coat of product. You don't want to interfere or by putting any inferior product over it, such as a water-based sealer of any kind. So with regard to water features such as fountains, bird baths, swimming pools, jacuzzis, it's always best to get with the manufacturers. So get with Arto Brick, get with Desert Brand, and talk to us about the project and gather as much information as you can before you delve into it. Regarding the slipperiness of tile, when you seal a tile, you're taking away the natural, say, call it a rough feel of the tile. So when you put a sealer on a tile, you are actually making it a little more slippery. To cover and compensate for that, we have slip-resistant beads that we put in the sealer to compensate for that. And you can always add more slip resistancy to this sealer. With regard to the penetrating sealer, when used correctly, the penetrating sealer goes into the tile, into the substrate, and it leaves the surface as it was. So you really haven't changed much of the surface. Generally speaking, with all surfaces, maintenance is everything, cleanliness, and also the pitch of a deck to make sure that water doesn't puddle. Puddles can cause slippery slope, so to speak. So those are all things important when you talk about slip resistancy and slipperiness. With regard to how many coats of product to put on the tile, we recommend that you start with 2. 2 is usually where you end up, but to the discretion of the customer, you can go with a 3rd coat for that extra protection. With regard to starting a job when there's inclement weather, it's better to postpone the job because you're looking at a window where you don't want rain, but you also don't want drizzle. You usually have cooler temperatures associated with rain. If you're in the south, you've got more humidity associated with that rain, and it's just best to avoid those times and to give your tile, the job, and the sealer the best chance of success. It's best to wait till you have better weather. Some of the most common application issues or mistakes that come up that I come across are, there's just basically the big 3. Number 1, making sure that the surface is clean. That is very, very big. It's very important. If you don't, the sealer will stick to the dust and it'll come off. It's very common sense, but it's amazing how sometimes that doesn't get done. Secondly, making sure the surface is 100% dry. It needs to be dry. Not only the tile, but the grout as well has to be dry before you seal it. The third thing is the surface temperature during application. During application, the surface temperature for both of our products here is 55 to 85. Surface temperature, how do you figure that? Because that's not the air temperature. These are infrared thermometers. They're very common. They're very easy to find. They run you about $25, $80, somewhere in that range. They're a very good handy tool to have to get you your surface temperatures and understand where you're at as you apply the sealer. Our Master Seal 100, 24 hours after the final coat, you can put the area back into a light service. We recommend, that number of 24 hours is it really has to do with the environment. If you have colder climate, you're probably going to want to stretch that number out a bit. When you have warmer climate, that 24 is going to work just about right. With regard to, say, patio furniture and hot tires, you want to go 72 hours before you put anything into a full service like that. Regarding the penetrating sealer, a lot more simpler. Once you've applied the penetrating sealer, as we've suggested, you're looking at about a 3-hour time period, and then you can put the area back into service. We're going to talk a little bit about application of some of our Desert Brand sealers. I'll start first with our penetrating sealer because this is the easiest one. This literally can go on with a low pressure pump up sprayer. It can be brushed on, it can be rolled on, it can be sponged on. As we said earlier, it is a saturation, it's not coats. So it's all about watching the saturation and following up with a rag. So a rag would be the other tool to be used with this. With regard to the Master Seal 100, there are some do's and don'ts. The question most frequently asked is, can I spray this? We highly do not recommend that. It has to do with the suspended media that we have in this product, and it could turn out disastrous for your sprayer as well as the job. We highly recommend that you either brush or roll the product. And with regard to roller covers, that's also very important. These types of rollers, the white ones, there's kind of 3 names for them. There's dripless, lintless, Draylon, and these are woven fabrics. The woven fabric has a straighter fabric so that when it goes on with the solvent base does not pool on this and you don't get little fuzzies in your coating. Roller covers to avoid are polyester roller covers. They tend to have a kinkier fabric material, and these will get stuck and you'll have little fuzzies all over your coating, and we don't want that. With regard to paint brushes, you want to use a natural fiber brush. This is actually a hog hair brush, pig bristle, and doesn't matter if it's white or black, they're both kind of the same. Kind of the tendency when you use clear coatings is to go with a white bristle brush. The brush you do not want to use is any kind of a nylon brush or a polyester brush. You could have a disaster. Actually, the solvent involved with that could actually start melting this as you're using it, and it's not going to give you a good finish anyway, so stay away from the polyester or nylon brushes. We're going to now seal some Arto brick tile with our Master Seal 100. As I stated earlier, you want to use a Draylon, a woven, lintless cover, which I have here, this mini roller, 3/8 snap, and I'm going to, couple things here. I'm going to put on a first coat so you can see, and you'll notice right away that there is a color change. So that makes it very important that the homeowner chooses the right color tile, sees the finished product before they make their purchase. For the second sample I have here, I've chosen a darker tile, and we're going to do half so you can see the color change here. Another thing I'd like to mention is you never want to use a foam roller cover. Foam roller is not going to work as well because of the non-skid additive that's in the Master Seal. And that's it, that's one coat. What I also want to show you is a second coat. This one's been pre-sealed. This product's been pre-sealed, and just to give you an idea of how this product works, once you get the second coat on there, what ends up happening is the coat you're putting on right now is going to melt into the first coat. So you'll always technically have one coat, but it's been put on thinly each time, and that's how you're going to get your best results. As we've said, the Master Seal is a solvent-based product, and you will get a color change. I'm going to peel this tape off just to show you the direct change in appearance of the tile. So as we said, when you pick out the tile that you want, you should check to see what the tile is going to look like once it's sealed. And that's how you should make your decision, your purchasing decision on the tile. I want to demonstrate real quickly here with an Arto Brick Echo tile. I'm chosen this tile because it has some grooves in it, and this is when you want to go to a roller cover that is a little bit thicker than what you would normally use. The reason being is you're going to be able to put the product down, and with a thicker roller with not a lot of product on it, it's going to act like a four-wheel drive and pull material out of those low-lying areas. So it's going to put the material in those low-lying areas, and then it's going to also pull out so you don't have any pooling or puddling inside those areas, which could be a problem. And that's how you eliminate the problem. And as we pointed out before, you can see you get a pretty dramatic color change. So when you get into some of these deep areas, you can look as you go, and you can see where you need to go back and push that in, and that's why you're using the thicker roller. It kind of acts like a sponge for you. And then once you have those low-lying areas all sealed, then you lightly go back over them, and you will have an even seal. I'm going to apply our Desert Brand penetrating sealer on some Arto brick tile here, just to show you. I'm using an oversized brush here for this job. Basically, all we're trying to do is get the material on here. You can see how this goes on. It sinks, it's soaking right in. So you can use a pump-up sprayer to apply this. I just happen to have a brush on me to get this done today. So as we stated earlier, it's not the amount of coats you put on here with regard to penetrating sealer, it's saturation. So the tile itself will tell you when it has more than enough sealer on it. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, it's soaking in. The sealer is disappearing into the tile. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So now what I'm going to do is try to maybe over apply an area here. And basically what wants to keep penetrating into the tile is going to keep penetrating into the tile, which is good. But that is too much sealer for here. So basically, we're going to speed this along for you. This is what you don't want to leave the tile like this. You want to leave the tile exactly how you see here. So, because if that is allowed to dry, that will create a white, hard spot on the tile that will be very difficult to remove. So basically, to have this turn out just like this side, all you're going to do when you have too much sealer on there is to just dab it dry. So when this dries, it should blend right in with what's there.